There's a conversation happening in millions of homes right now, but it's probably not the one you're thinking of. It's not between parents and kids, or even kids and their friends. It's a hidden conversation, one that's happening between our children and artificial intelligence. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this fast-growing and often totally invisible world.
I mean, really think about that for a second. We usually ask this question thinking about other people, right? But what if the answer isn't a who at all, but a what? The reality is, a massive number of children are now turning to AI chatbots. And the reasons why, well, they might just surprise you. Let's dive right into the numbers. Okay, so to really get a handle on what's going on, we have to start with the data. And the numbers from a recent Internet Matters report, they paint a pretty startling picture. 58%. Just let that sink in. Over half of all kids believe that getting answers from an AI chatbot is actually better than searching for information themselves. This isn't just about making things easier. It's a huge shift in how an entire generation is choosing to learn and find out about the world. And what about for schoolwork? Well, among older teens, that number is 47%. Now, we might have seen that one coming, but believe me, this is just the very, very tip of the iceberg when it comes to how AI is actually being used. Because yeah, schoolwork is a big piece of the puzzle for sure, but look at the other reasons. Nearly a quarter of kids are using AI to ask for advice, and 16%, they're using it simply as a friend. And this is the really crucial part. This technology has gone way beyond being a simple homework helper. It's stepping into the role of a personal confidant. And this is where things start to get a little worrying. When you're asking for advice, you kind of need a healthy dose of skepticism. But get this, a full 40% of kids have zero concerns, none, about following advice from an AI. Another 36% are just not sure. So what does that mean? It means the vast majority of young users are diving into these powerful systems without the critical guardrails we'd hope they would have. So if it's not just about grabbing facts for a school paper, what are the deeper, more emotional reasons kids are logging on to talk to a machine? This next part really gets to the heart of the why. When you look at this chart, the emotional side of things really snaps into focus. Sure, 23% want advice, but look closer. 16% just wanted a friend, and 15% actually said they would rather talk to an AI than a person. These aren't just tools anymore. They're becoming companions. And then there's this. Just let this one sink in for a moment. 12%. That's 1 in every 8 kids using these tools because they feel like they have no one else to turn to. This isn't a technology problem, you guys. This is a human one. And it puts these kids in a position where they are incredibly vulnerable. So you take that emotional reliance, you combine it with that lack of skepticism we just talked about, and boom, you've just opened the door to a whole host of potential dangers. When kids are unsupervised in these spaces, they're navigating a minefield of unvetted risks. And look, these aren't just what-ifs. These risks are very real and well documented. We're talking about everything from flawed chatbot designs and unethical marketing to something that's been called the AI therapy disaster, where chatbots give seriously harmful mental health advice. This stuff is happening right now. Okay, so a big part of the problem comes down to the tech itself. We're dealing with what are called general-purpose AI systems. Basically, tools like ChatGPT were built to do a ton of different things, but they were not specifically designed with child safety as a fundamental requirement. The safety features just weren't built in from the ground up for this very specific and super sensitive job. All right, we've seen the data, we've tried to understand the emotional reasons, and we've gotten a glimpse of the risks. So the big question is, right, what do we do about it? Luckily, the research points to a pretty clear path forward. Well, the first step is just admitting where we're at. And right now, the rules for AI are described as extremely weak and permissive. There are almost no mandatory safety requirements. This means companies are pretty much left to police themselves, and let's be honest, that is just not going to cut it when we're talking about kids. And that brings us to the single most important argument from the source material. And it's crystal clear. Children should not be allowed to use AI chatbots unsupervised. It's a simple, necessary line that needs to be drawn in the sand. So what's the game plan? It really boils down to 2 key steps. First, as a society, we all have to just acknowledge that for children, these are risky products, period. And second, once we understand that, We have to demand that the authorities in charge step in and take real, effective action to create some actual safeguards.
And that leaves all of us with this huge, critical question. This technology is not slowing down. It is evolving at a breathtaking speed, way faster than our laws and our social rules can possibly keep up. So, in this race between innovation and regulation, the safety of our kids is literally hanging in the balance. And how we decide to answer this, well, that's going to shape the entire digital world for the next generation.